What is good, Raider Nation, man? Today I got us a good one on the topic of the Raiders' first signing on the defensive side of the ball. Man, let's get into it, man. Starting off, David Irving is now back. He's a Las Vegas Raider once again. The news broke a while ago, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 days ago. I don't really remember, but I'm here to talk about that today. All right, so starting off, he's excited to be here, man. I always like players that always show their love and show their interest and show excitement once they get their chance here at the Raiders, man. And he is expressing that greatly. He is really loving this opportunity that he's getting, and I can do nothing but respect it, man. All right, so in this Gus Bradley defense, we all know that if you look at the history of what Gus Bradley's been able to do, he said it before. The beginning of this defense starts off with getting after the quarterback. Now, we have two young guys on the edge, Cleveland Ferrell and Max, both going into their third year. Between Cleveland Ferrell and Max Crosby, you know, they're both getting better and better. Max Crosby had a down year, quote unquote, for the simple fact that he was getting all the attention last year. Let's be honest. Teams looked at the numbers that Cleve put up last year, and they were probably saying, "Listen, we don't need to really respect him too much. We can just put all our attention on Max." At times, he was getting doubled and chipped with a running back. So for Max, it was a down year, but together when they're on the field, they do good numbers. Without Cleveland Ferrell on the field, Max Crosby only had 6 sacks, and that's how he finished the year. He only finished the year with 6 sacks, and that's because Cleveland Ferrell wasn't on the field, man. Cleveland, when they got that name, Salt and Pepper, they really made a bond, man. They really made a bond, and they're inseparable, and that's good. But back to David Irving, okay? So, like I said, you look at the things that Gus Bradley has been able to do in his past years. You look at the track record of what his defensive tackle prototypes look like, and they're never these run stoppers. They're not run stoppers. They're guys who can stop the run, but they aren't run stoppers. They aren't. I'm going to tell you that. They are not run stoppers. He likes those nimble guys that can get after that quarterback. And you look at David Irving, he fits that mold perfectly. You talk about all the guys he had before. I think the heaviest guy he ever had was, I believe, last year with Linval Joseph. And Linval Joseph is a run stopper. That's the first year he had a run stopper as his main DT, and we've seen that his production dropped. His defensive production dropped. That also came with the fact that half their defense was hurt. Like, they had everybody gone last year, which sucks for him, but we know what he can do with teams that he knows what he's getting out of, and when he knows what he's going into the season with, he produces well. So let's talk about David Irving. He is not over 300 pounds, which is very key for Gus Bradley's the way he likes to play defense. He likes those nimble defensive tackles that can really pass rush. And you look at what David Irving is, his build, there's only really one guy that has his build, man. And that's DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner is the only guy that you can compare stature-wise, weight-wise, to David Irving. David Irving is 6'8", man. He's 6'8" and 290 pounds. Last year he didn't play fully, like, ready to play. He was just on that field trying to see how well he could compete against the top guys in his first year back. And he didn't do horribly. He was doing decent. When he was out there, it's not like he was getting drove back. He was doing good, or he was doing okay. He was doing okay. But I really like the fact that we did re-sign him, because you look at what he's saying, how he wants to really be a leader, how he really wants to be a part of this team. Now, he loves Rod Marinelli. He really loves Rod Marinelli. That's who he went to practice and work for every day when he was at the Cowboys. And he expressed that at the Cowboys, he did not like their management, how they did things. He didn't like it over there. But he said that he always had the utmost respect for our defensive line coach, Rod Marinelli. And he says, let me actually, so I don't miss any quotes on you, let me read this out for you. This was what he said after he got signed. I'm going to read it for you. He goes, "It was inconceivable a year ago to many people that I'd be in a position to sign with the Raiders." He says, "Big thanks to Coach Marinelli always having my back and Coach Gruden for believing in me." He then goes on to say, "The greatness of the Raiders lies in its future. Al Davis." Man, when I see those kinds of things, man, it excites me because he also then goes on podcasts and interviews claiming that he wants to be a leader. He's going to do whatever he can to help this team succeed. I like this, man. All right, like, his height is nice. His weight is nice. It all adds up for him. But when he really was putting it together in Dallas, he was one of the best at his position. And what makes him so hard to block is his wingspan, man. He has a 7'4" wingspan. That's ridiculous. When you're going up against, and he's an interior defensive lineman, man. He's not an edge rusher. He's a defensive tackle. That's what's the best about him. I play defensive. I play defensive line, yes, but I also do, and I'm mainly an offensive guard or a center. Dude, wingspan matters, man. He has a 7'4" wingspan. Interior offensive linemen don't have the craziest wingspan because interior offensive linemen are really gritty. They're just there to do the dirty work. The tackles, they're the more athletic ones. They're the ones that are going to be able to go against the finesse guys, the speed guys. You don't really get that too much at defensive tackles. So when you get a good defensive tackle that's dominant, it's really hard to stop them. Because with David Irving, in his best year in the Cowboys, let me check this out real quick. In his best year with the Cowboys, he only played 8 games, but he had 7 sacks. He was consistently just becoming unstoppable, man. You know, he got into he made his own decision that he wasn't gonna play anymore because of the weed issue. Not issues, but he just straight up said, like, you know what? I'm choosing weed over football at the moment. And whatever. That was his choice. But we're talking about now. He is now with the Raiders, man. I really like what he's going to bring. I do think he's going to help a lot. He has already said in interviews that he's already began to help our players. He said, I've already taught them certain moves. He really wants to become a teacher out there. And it's only going to make it better that he knows Marinelli, that he's like, those are already good friends. Like, it's gonna help. And let me say another thing. I did just say that he fits the mold very perfectly for Gus Bradley and the type of defensive tackle that he likes, but so does Maurice Hurst. Maurice Hurst also fits that mold very well, if not actually better than David Irving. I'm just going to be completely honest. Maurice Hurst actually fits that prototype that Gus Bradley usually uses more than David Irving. Gus Bradley never had a 6'8" defensive tackle. It's hard to come by. Maurice Hurst is under 300 pounds, and he's a pass-rushing defensive tackle. So I do think that in many years we were so focused on we need a pass-rushing DT and then a run-stopping DT. They need to be next to each other. And as we can tell these last years, it hasn't really worked. The thing is that in the other defenses that we were in, the box wasn't stacked as much as it is going to be with Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley's going to have an 8-man box, but everybody in that box is very athletic. Your linebackers are athletic. Your defensive linemen are athletic. Everyone's athletic in this front 8. It's not a front 7. It's a front 8. He stacked that box. That's the thing. That's what allows his defense to be very good. It works like a well-oiled machine at times. Like, you can have 2 pass-rushing defensive tackles, and the reason why it's okay to have that is because your box is stacked. It has 8 men in the box at all times. which allows, okay, if one of our defensive tackles gets drove back, or he opens a gap, you have three people behind him that are going to be able to fill that. You have people behind him that are at all times going to be able to fill those holes. So instead of last year when one of our defensive tackles would get out of position and we would only have a linebacker and then a safety coming down, we're going to have two linebackers and our strong safety there to try and make up for that mistake. That's why it allows it to succeed very well in the pass and in the run as well, because you have such a stacked box. I wouldn't be surprised if this year, if we don't get a defensive tackle in free agency, because honestly it's not a strong defensive tackle class. I'm not gonna lie. And as far as trading away our picks, I don't really see John Gruden doing that. He's more of a guy that will trade away players for picks and then trade picks for players, which I never understood, but it's whatever. I would not be surprised if this year we saw starting on the defensive line was Max, David Irving, Maurice Hurst, and Cleveland Ferrell at all times. Because also in this defense, there's not much rotation. The only kinds of rotation is really on pass rushing situations where it's a third and long. Then instead of Maurice Hurst, they'll probably take out Maurice Hurst, bump in Cleveland, and I think we'll re-sign somebody like Takk McKinley, and I think we'll put Takk McKinley on the edge, and that will be like our NASCAR package type thing, how we had last year with Vic Beasley and all them. I think that's how it would look, and I honestly do think that this defense will do very well like that. Because you have two pass rushers in at all times, but you also have an 8-man box. So when something does go bad, which it's not like these guys are just going to be getting their ass blown back. They're defensive tackles. They're NFL players. They're not just going to get drove back all the time. And also, a very underrated part of David Irving's game is his run stopping. His arms, his everything allows him to really do good things in the run game. When he's blocked and he really gets his leverage low, he can hold off one guy with one arm if he's really sunk into him. That's the only thing that David Irving really has to work on is his pad level. He's really tall, so he has to really stay low. He also talked about how he really needs to get his conditioning up, because he said it's always easy to stay low on the first 3 plays of the drive. But if you don't get a 3 and out, and I'm out there for the rest of the 10 to 12 plays of the drive, then, the conditioning starts kicking in, and then you start getting tired, you need a breath. But with David Irving, I honestly, like I'm saying, I do like this signing now. I mean, the reason why at the beginning I wasn't so, high on it was because, we didn't see anything last year, but that was because he got hurt. And he said it, he hadn't been working out for about a year and a half. This man is consistently working his ass off right now, probably at the moment, working out, man. He's gonna put in some work, and I think it's gonna do good. Also, Cleveland Ferrell, who else? Cleveland Ferrell, and I think it's Kendall Vickers, as well as Maurice Hurst, are all working. Oh, also Arden Key, which he might be here next year, he might not. Those 4 guys are all working out with the same trainer. I see them consistently working out with pass rushing moves, hand placement. That's everything for defensive linemen, for linemen in general. I'm not gonna lie. I do think that as far as the defensive tackle, they do understand that they have a need there. But I don't see us really getting a player in free agency or draft. If it's in the draft, it's going to be after the 2nd round. I'm just being completely honest. That's how I feel. I know we all want somebody. I want somebody, but I just don't see it happening. I really do think that Maurice Hurst and David Irving are going to have huge roles next year. And I honestly think that it'll excel. Now that I'm looking at it, that's 2 pass rushing defensive tackles on 1st and 2nd down. Then on 3rd down, then you'll take out Maurice Hurst, then you'll bump in Cleveland Ferrell, then you'll put in another edge rusher. I really like this. Like I said, Maurice Hurst does fit the mold a bit better. It's not that he fits better, is that's what he's used to. That's what Gus Bradley's used to. That's more of his classic mold. As far as weight, yeah, David Irving fits that as well. But height, David Irving is just, the man he's a tower, man. He's really tall. So, I really do think that David Irving and Maurice Hurst are about to get huge increases in snaps, obviously in snaps, but their production, I think, is going to be high next year. This next season will be Maurice Hurst, I think, last year on his contract, or I think actually no, I think that this year is his contract year. So this year is going to be the year that he's about to try and get paid for the next season. But I do think that David Irving is going to do good things. He's going to do everything that we thought Malik Collins was going to be able to do. And Malik Collins was trash. Let's be honest. Malik Collins didn't do anything for us. And if anything, David Irving in his heyday, when he was really getting after it every day, is better than Malik Collins. He is. And Malik Collins is a good player when he's, actually doing something. But yeah, as far as David Irving, I do like this signing. I do think he's excited, and I do think he'll do good things for us. And also, like I was mentioning a bit, I think Maurice Hurst is also going to play a big role this year. He hasn't been getting the snaps he's deserved. We look at last year. This man took over the Chicago Bears game. We needed to ice the game, and he just got a sack to finish out the game. Just last play of the game, Maurice Hurst is in, sack. I really like Maurice Hurst. I really do like David Irving. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't pick up anybody in free agency. I probably think we'll get somebody in the draft in the later rounds, but yeah, as far as David Irving, I do like it. I do think he'll do good things for us, and I do think he'll succeed next year. He's with familiar faces. He respects the franchise. Hey, and you heard the post. He said the future in the Raiders is the something like that. Some little saying, but you heard him, man. He said he wants to be here. He respects Gruden. He loves Marinelli. That's the kind of things that you want. But yeah, man, let me know in the comments down below what other things I should talk about. I know we signed Nathan Peterman, but that's a backup. I mean, I want to talk about players that are gonna start. But yeah, let me know in the comments what other things you want me to talk about. Yeah, that's basically it. Comment, subscribe if you can, and that's it.